What was really interesting to me is that the further people go on past the actual date of the stroke themselves, it felt as though there was a real urge to lessen the contact with healthcare workers.
In this episode, we talk to Chris Greenhough and Lisa Thomas. Chris has aphasia and runs groups across Gloucestershire and Worcestershire, and Lisa is a senior speech and language therapist working for the NHS. Hi, and welcome everybody, and we hope you enjoy this podcast called On the Tip of My Tongue. Now, I'm Rob Edwards.
And I'm Jonathan Hirons.
And this podcast is a follow-up to a film which Jonathan made about aphasia. So, what is aphasia? Well, it's a condition caused by some kind of injury to the brain, which is often, could be a stroke, or could be just falling off a bike. And it affects your ability to use language in all its forms. Speaking, writing, reading, sending text, whatever. 350,000 people in the UK suffer from a debilitating condition called aphasia. Fewer than half this number suffer from Parkinson's, and yet most people have heard of Parkinson's, whilst almost nobody has heard of aphasia.
I'm Chris Greenhough. I've had a stroke about 15 and a half years ago. I was aphasic and right-sided weakness. And obviously I'm talking now, but I couldn't talk originally. It had been years since each year I got better and better.
My name is Lisa Thomas. I am clinical lead for the Integrated Stroke Speech and Language Therapy Service, Herefordshire and Worcestershire Health and Care Trust. That's a mouthful.
And you remembered it. Thank you both for coming on the Tip of My Tongue podcast. It's great to see you, both of you, together as well, which is good. Maybe we'll start with Chris. So Chris, as you said, you had your stroke 15 years ago, that's right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 and a half years.
15 and a half years and counting. It was obviously tough for you to begin with. How did you get help to get to where you are now?
So, obviously, I tried speech and language therapy at the beginning, but me and her didn't get on, and I stopped speaking anyway because I just said nothing at the first place. I said possibly yes and no by 2 weeks' time, and not the right yes and no. It's just frustrating. Over time, I got a new speech and language therapist, and I got on really well with her. And I've just got to keep going. And the thing is, I really don't like myself speaking at all, but I've got to do what I can to speak correctly.
So you seem to have done really well, actually. From what you're saying, you couldn't speak at all when it started. So you've got to this level with help with speech and language therapy. What other things do you do to keep this going? You do this, don't you?
Yeah, exactly, because I didn't realise the fact that I had aphasia because it wasn't. I understood that I was speechless, but I hadn't really understood what aphasia meant. But Colin Lyle founded a group which was Say Aphasia in Brighton.
Yep.
That's where he started, and it's come on since then, and it's brilliant. And when I moved here 6-7 years ago, it just carried on.
Was there a group there before you came to where you are now, in Gloucestershire and Worcestershire?
Yeah, there was a group in Gloucestershire, not Say Aphasia, a different name. And I took it over. I changed the name of it from Aphasia Now to Say Aphasia a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Right.
But Worcester, it was a new group, and me and Lisa formulated the plan to open it, and it's going from strength to strength.
Yeah, sounds like it. Lisa, how did you meet Chris exactly?
In many ways, John, I need to thank you for this because you won't have realised this, but I read an article in the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists Bulletin, and that directed me to your video. And I watched the video, and it just came at a really opportune moment because my manager had tasked me with setting up a community communication group, which I knew was going to be a really tall order with such a small team of speech and language therapists. But in the video, you may remember you've got a lovely speech and language therapist, Barbara, talking. And if ever there was a speech and language therapist who talked my sort of language, it was her. And she just said everything that I was thinking. And so I managed to track her down, actually. I promise I wasn't stalking, but I did have to go through various avenues to try and get a contact number for her. She very kindly gave me her time, and I spoke to her about what I was trying to do, talked about your video, and it was really through Barbara that she put me in touch with Aphasia.
Okay.
Yeah, so all
Small
through you,
world.
John.
It's okay. Yeah. Look what I've started.
Indeed, yeah, you should be very proud.
It's interesting.
Stop there.
But the magazine you're talking about, I've never seen it because I'm not a member. I think Barbara sent me a picture of the article, and that's the only thing I've seen. So I'm glad to know that actually people do read it.
They do. We had a really good outcome from that article, John, so thank you.
Okay, let's talk about what you do. As you said, that there are probably not enough SLTs, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's never enough, is there?
No.
So how do you manage, because you've got quite a wide area to cover, haven't you? Have you got different people in different places, or do they all come from one place?
Worcestershire is the area that I cover, and it's a vast county.
Yeah.
And so we do have to cover a lot of ground. I manage a small team that cover both the inpatient rehab facility and also in community as well, going into people's homes. So we have two hubs really for our community stroke service, north and more south of the county, so that we can cover sufficient ground. But you're absolutely right. Sometimes my team can be 40 minutes travelling between patients, whereas a lot of city therapists, their journey time will be much reduced.
Right. What are you doing with, say, aphasia? Are you hands-on, or are you just keeping an eye on Chris and see what he's up to?
What was really interesting is when I was thinking about a communication group in the community, I knew it was going to be a tall order to be pulling on the resources from a very small team. When I went to meet Chris and his Gloucester group, actually, and I really wanted to scope out what it was that people wanted, what did they need from us, and put it to them. And I went to some other groups as well. What was really interesting to me, actually, John, is that the further people go on past the actual date of the stroke themselves, it felt as though there was a real urge to lessen the contact with healthcare workers, move more into a kind of normalised communication setting. And what struck me is that actually people really wanted to connect with others with the same lived experience. And it wasn't so much about having speech and language therapy sessions forever and a day. It was more about, okay, I can take from my speech and language therapy sessions those strategies, and now can I embed them in a more real life and naturalistic environment?
Yeah.
I think initially it was quite funny because I think there was a part of me that was thinking, but surely you need us. That was my SLT ego talk. But actually what's emerged from it is a lovely collaborative relationship with Chris. So, you know, patients will have speech and language therapy, be that in an inpatient setting and then at home. And then we really heavily encourage them to move on and into, say, a phase. And what we do is if they are particularly anxious, and some people aren't, they're quite shy, and it's a big ask to go into a room in a place that you've not been before. Whichever therapist has been working with them will accompany them on that first visit. And we very much kind of bob in from time to time because we love to catch up with everybody and see how they're doing. I've been invited to Aphasia Christmas lunch, so I'm very pleased
Magic.
about that. Yeah, so I'd say it's a really great relationship that's working for everybody, really.
Yeah.
This is something I've found doing all these and talking to lots of people. That's the message, that once they get together, the people with aphasia get together, they kind of do their own thing. Chris, what do you do with your group? Do you have different things you do each week or each month or whatever?
Two groups are very different. The Gloucester group is split into two sections. One that comes every 2 weeks, which is an aphasia person and their carer, and they just chat about everything and anything. But normally they would chat about all the care packages and things like that. But just normal thing, but
kind of social thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. And because of the fact that I go and speak to them, and it's just a matter of me and a guy just having a chat, and it's just so worthwhile. The chatter is irrelevant, but I'm speaking with one voice, and he or she is speaking with one voice, and you can communicate together, and that improves your language and speech skills immensely.
Yeah. That's very important, isn't it? To get people to understand that they're not on their own.
No, exactly. Because I'm particularly scared of when I introduce myself to a new person that isn't asphagic, and I clam up, and it's just ridiculous. I wouldn't clam up pre-stroke, but I clam up and I just get nervous and can't speak at all.
I think we all have different versions. I have the same problem. When I go into a shop and I want to buy something and I want to ask where it is or whatever, I run into all sorts of problems. My words disappear.
Yep. Exactly.
So on a one-to-one basis, I usually manage reasonably well without having too many problems. I do forget words, obviously. But once I'm in a group or it's something new, I find it difficult to get all the words out.
I often, on the telephone, I used to be a business analyst, just telephone all the time. And I say to the telephone agent, I've had a stroke, just bear with me. And that's better for me and better for her or him. And it's just relaxing and calms things down immensely.
Does it work most of the time? Are they helpful, do you find?
99% of the time it works.
My experience as well. Once you tell people that you've got a certain problem, whatever the problem is, they're usually amazing how good people are.
Exactly. Some people are amazing.
Loving the podcast? Subscribe for more episodes and support the journey. Your donations help keep the show thriving. Please go to tipofmytonguefilm.com. Thank you for being part of our community.
So how many people in the group, in both, I was two groups, I know, but how many have you got altogether?
About 12 in one group and 15, 20 in another.
That's quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a lot, yeah.
Because it's getting stronger and stronger, and possibly we need a bigger room.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
You need a bigger room. So what about, perhaps Lisa can tell me this, how easy or difficult it is for people to get to these groups? Because obviously you said you're pretty fairly large county.
Yeah.
How do you get people into these these groups?
That's a real interesting question, actually. If I were to say that there's one issue that we've had, it is around transport for individuals to be able to access the groups. We deliberately chose one area in centre of Worcester, so we knew that it was on a bus link. We're just about to open another group. Aphasia are about to open another group in Bromsgrove, which is great. So now we've kind of got either side of the county, which is brilliant. But certainly what we have found is that for those people that haven't got a member that can drive them to say aphasia, or indeed they're unable to drive themselves and perhaps have other difficulties, it could be a leg brace or what have you, it's really difficult for them to access via public transport. And in fact, you told me a story, Chris, didn't you, about one gentleman who I'd introduced to the group who decided to try and make his own way there by taxi.
Yeah.
And how much did it cost him, Chris?
£50.
£50. The crux of the matter is that it's often those people that are living by themselves that actually are more at risk of being isolated. Chris and I were invited by a local Rotary Club to go and talk to them, and our idea was to see whether we could get some funding to support with the transport costs so that we could really support those that were most at risk of being isolated. It turned out to be that the Rotary Club meet in the pub.
Yeah.
So we had a great
That's
evening
handy.
with them. We had a great evening with them, and they really came on board with us. And we're going to be hosting a joint venture next year, which is a race night to support funding
Brilliant.
to go into that. Everybody talks about, there's local transport that's really cheap. Actually, it isn't really cheap. Worcestershire on Wheels is not cheap for people that are living on benefits or have restricted finances. But we have found that Worcestershire On Demand are going to be able to support people getting to our next group in Bromsgrove, but we're still lacking transport or support to get our patients to Lippard Hub. So that's probably one of the issues. A colleague who I did some peer sharing with in Herefordshire, and they've also gone ahead and started a say aphasia group in Herefordshire. Again, a similar county, vast rural areas. That's also an issue for them as well. So something that we need to fix. But at the moment, we've made some really good links, and we're looking for other community support with that.
You're working with people who are volunteers, and they're doing it for the right reasons, but they can't always turn up, can they? Because they have other problems of their own.
And in fact, I can think of a number of patients that one of my team or I myself has supported to go into the first say aphasia session with them, to introduce them to it, see what they think of it. And they've said, look, I would love to come back again. I just can't get to it easily.
Your problems are they're the same everywhere, I think.
Oh, yeah.
As you say, unless you're in a city and people can get to stuff quite easily.
Or you've got somebody that will drive you, or you're able to drive
But people live on their own, don't they?
Yes, people live on their own. People have not been able to return to work, so finance is a difficulty for them.
So talking about age then, Chris, I always think that we shouldn't be talking about age in that sense, because there are lots of people of your age group when you got your stroke who are quite young. I mean, we're talking people in their 20s and 30s. Yep. And it's not something that's people strokes and things. You think, older people get strokes and that sort of thing, but it's not like that at all, is it?
Exactly. And I know that strokes are older people, but it's getting more and more younger people nowadays, just through possibly stress and a hole in the heart or something like that. It's just.
And I know personally 2 or 3 people younger than you. Would you believe? Even younger than you, Chris. who have to build their lives, don't they,
Yeah,
with what they've got. And you're doing a grand job, of course, because you're doing what you're doing.
Exactly. But the thing is now that they've got an awful lot more technology, and they can basically stick tube up into the head, and it's amazing what I can, because what I do is volunteering at a Reconnect. So every Monday afternoon, I go to Cheltenham Hospital and I just see the patients and friend them.
Right.
And it was really great. And there's a couple of people who didn't talk at all one week and did talk the next week. It's phenomenal what they can achieve.
Yeah. Yes. Technology and medicine is moving on all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So things that we couldn't have thought about maybe 10, 20 years ago happen now, don't they? So that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hopefully it's a really good thing. But obviously, if you've not got anyone there to help you, if you have a stroke, then one patient that I know, they took 2 days till they got an ambulance because he was on his own. And
right. Yeah.
It's just...
That's a very worrying thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So, is there anything you can do better for what you're doing at the moment? Sounds like you're doing really well. I think we've talked about transport being a big problem. Is there another thing like transport that could make things a lot easier for people with aphasia than the groups what do you think? Apart from a lot of money.
Yes, exactly.
I think the reason I loved, say, aphasia and the say aphasia model, for me, what really kind of drew me towards it was that the peer leaders are all people who have aphasia, and there was something really important about that lived experience and that connection. And I really value what Say Aphasia are doing, because I recognise, even with my own professional body, honestly, we haven't been great in raising public awareness about aphasia. So many people I meet say, I've never even heard the word. What is it? And this is something that speech and language therapists have been working with for a long time. So for me, what I love about Say Aphasia, and I see in my own head, I think that the more groups that they open up across the whole country, these lovely little sort of connections of people getting together, that in itself is quite a force in spreading the word out there, getting the message across about aphasia within your community. And I see that as a real plus. The other thing that I would really like to see lobbied much more is things like utility companies and banks, anything like that, where a person with aphasia has to try and deal with and navigate, which with the advent of technology, and everybody loves technology, but actually it's made their lives a whole lot more complicated. You can't get to a person, you get stuck in an automated telephone queue. Very few big name companies make any allowance for people with aphasia, and that really frustrates me. So I think if I could wave a magic wand, it would be the message about aphasia was out there in the right wider audience and public knowledge and business knowledge as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because I can't read or write, but I can speak reasonably well. But I can't. Every business is speak to me on the telephone, but do a text message.
Oh, yeah.
It's really annoying.
It's just impossible.
Difficult to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just picking on your point, Lisa, that I think the worst companies are the technology companies.
Yeah. They're so driven and focused,
Absolutely
aren't
the
they?
worst.
Absolutely. Good Lord, yeah. And I see it, the stress that this causes.
It is stressful.
You know, it's
I agree.
phenomenal.
Well, it's great talking to you. I think you're doing a grand job. Really are. Out in lovely Worcestershire and Gloucestershire. It's very interesting to talk to you, and obviously good luck with your endeavours, and I will keep in touch with you. Okay. Thanks very much.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for coming.
Enjoying the podcast? Subscribe for more episodes and support the journey. Please go to tipofmyfilm.com in the description. Thank you. Thank you for listening to this On the Tip of My Tongue podcast. We hope you found it helpful and informative. Now, if you want more help and information about strokes and aphasia, please go to stroke.org.uk, say aphasia, that's S-A-Y, aphasia, all one word, .org, or the aphasia page of nhs.uk. This has been a Buffalo Lounge production. Please follow Buffalo Lounge on all the socials.